Hello, I'm Patty Behan, and today I'm going to show you a neat technique using ultra-thick embossing enamel, sticky back canvas, and Claudine Hellmuth Studio acrylic paints. You will need Claudine Hellmuth Studio acrylic paint in smidge of blue, blank canvas, dash of red, studio paint brushes, perfect pearl brushes, Perfect Pearl pigment powder in Perfect Pearl, some cut up Rub It Scrub It pads, Ink Essentials Emboss It ink in clear, mini mister filled with water, heated craft tool, some ultra thick embossing enamel in clear, some Claudine Hellmuth Studio sticky back canvas, Tim Holtz stamps. I have the scratch star and the circle star, some paper towels, some scrap paper, and of course we'll be working on the non-stick craft sheet here. So let's get started. Step 1. Paint the sticky back canvas with blank canvas paint. I'm using a small piece of sticky back canvas so I can demonstrate quickly. But I would suggest when you try this technique that you use either an 8.5 by 11 or a 12 by 12 sheet, so you can use your background on multiple projects. I'm painting the canvas first to prime it. This way, the embossing powder will not soak into the fibers of the canvas. Keep in mind that the color you choose for your primer will end up being the color of your embossed image. Once you are finished, let it dry. You can speed the drying time by using the heated tool. Heating the canvas will not affect the adhesive on the back, so you can go ahead and heat it until it is completely dry. Another tip, if you find your canvas is curling up a little, you can release the backing from the paper and stick it onto your non-stick craft sheet so that it will lay flat as you paint. Step 2. Stamp your image onto the primed canvas with clear embossing ink. If you're working on a large sheet of sticky back, it is best to work in small sections at a time. Just stamp your pattern randomly. And remember to stamp off the page. Step 3. Place the stamped canvas onto a piece of scrap paper. Pour clear UTEE over the stamped images until you cover the whole sheet. Remove the excess. And then pour the leftovers back into the jar. And then emboss until everything is melted. And when you're finished, this is what it looks like, and you're going to want to let it cool. Step 4. Place a dash of red paint onto the nonstick craft sheet. Spray some water into it with the mini mister to make a watery glaze with the paint. You want to have the consistency of a watercolor. And the great thing about these paints is that they're highly pigmented, and even if you add water, it stays true to the original color. Step 5. Paint a stripe onto the embossed canvas. And you'll see that it's resisting the UTEE, and that's why we call it UTEE Resist. And then you're going to want to take and wipe off the excess from the embossed images with a paper towel. Step 6. Repeat steps 4 and 5 using a smidge of blue paint. Make a watercolor glaze by spraying water with the mini mister. The more watery you make it, the better resist you get. And then paint a stripe of blue. Wipe it off with your paper towel. We just want to wipe off the UTEE really. We can wipe off the canvas too. It kind of blends it a little bit while you're doing that. Step 7. Continue alternating red and blue stripes until the entire canvas is painted. Step 8. Add additional texture to your canvas by using a square cut from the Rub It Scrub It pad as a dry brush. Just place the square into some paint and dab it onto your canvas, and you get some nice texture. I don't know if you can see that. Just do it randomly. Use some red, then some blue. Make sure you just scrub it around and it just stays on the surface, which is really neat. And this just adds a little extra. And if you find you get dark spots, you can just take a paper towel and blot it a little bit, like so. And then we're going to use some white. And then we're just going to go in and wipe off our embossed image again. One last time, use a damp paper towel or a baby wipe. Step 9. Once your canvas is dry, we are going to apply some Perfect Pearls onto the UTEE. You take the small brush, dip it into the Perfect Pearls, and just brush it onto the UTEE. And then you take your larger brush and brush off the excess. And you'll see it gives a beautiful pearlescent finish. I don't know if you can tell. But you can leave it with or without the Perfect Pearls, but I love the extra little shimmer that the Perfect Pearls gives. Once you've finished adding your Perfect Pearls, this is what it looks like. I don't know if you can see the pearliness of the UTEE, but there's no need to spray it with water to set it. Just buff it off with the dry paper towel, and the UTEE and the Perfect Pearls stick to each other. And I want to show you what I did with my pieces. Now you're ready to use it in your next project. I made a card, and I used this strip right here. And I also painted some chipboard with the studio paints. And I used my Rub It Scrub It as a dry brush with the white paint over here and around the edges. And then I made a 4th of July scrapbook page. I put my strip over here, and I painted some chipboard letters with Claudine's paints, and I used the Cricut Graphically Speaking cartridge to cut out the 4th of July and these stars, which I also colored with paint. Then I used my Rub It Scrub It pad to get some dry brushing to give the cardstock some texture. So I hope you like this UTEE Resist technique with Claudine Hellmuth Studio paints. You can use it to decorate home decor projects, to cover a journal, you can make a bookmark, or use it like I did in your scrapbook pages and on your cards.